tell you a secret, maybe even two. It's not something I generally do, even as a storyteller, but here goes. Um, I have a varsity letter jacket from Central Dauphin High School. That's not the secret. It's my jacket. I earned it, uh, kind of. On the front of the jacket is my name and the year I barely graduated, and a varsity letter. And on the back of it, it says Central Dauphin, and there's a patch featuring our mascot, the Ram. And on the bottom, it says soccer. Now, I played soccer briefly, but I did not receive my varsity letter for soccer. I received my varsity letter for cheerleading. Now, I know it's a little deceptive to have Central Dauphin soccer on the jacket when I actually lettered in cheerleading. But in my defense, it was like $3 a letter with a $15 setup fee to get cheerleading put on the back. And that's like, what, 12, 13 letters, right? I mean, it would have been like $1,000. So I didn't have the cash. And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Now, some of the guys on the soccer team were very upset that I had a varsity letter on a jacket that said soccer when I was not a varsity soccer player per se. Now, my brief introduction to anthropology and biology had taught me that the whole purpose of a big, ugly, tribal display like a Letterman jacket was to attract a suitable mate. So I assured all the guys on the soccer team that I had little to no interest in having sex with any of them. So their opinions on my jacket were virtually useless to me. I was 16 years old, and I had one thing on my mind, and that's why I became a cheerleader. That probably doesn't seem to be a big deal today, now that they have competitive cheerleading with boys and girls on the team. But back then, there were no boys on the cheerleading squad. And being a devout feminist, even then, I thought that was terribly unfair. So I found a way to join. I became the mascot. Now, I know you're disappointed. I know that at least half of you were imagining me in that little skirt and sweater set, and I'll give the rest of you a moment to imagine that, and then we'll all take a moment for everybody to take a big swig of whatever you're drinking to forget. So, go ahead. I'll wait. Okay? You can probably drink and listen. I was the mascot. I had a 50-pound wool suit and a 35-pound fiberglass head. The first time I wore it at a football game, I got so dehydrated that I passed out. And I also discovered that I had miscalculated. That the cheerleaders, it seems, were in no way interested in dating someone on the squad. Least of all, the sweaty guy who passed out at his first time at bat. And that's when I realized that there were also girls in the band. Lots of them. And they were suffering from a total lack of attention and respect that is due to someone who has mastered the art of playing a musical instrument while walking in bizarre formations to spell out words on a field. So as an authorized member of an organization dedicated to the encouragement and, yes, celebration of all competitive activities of Central Dauphin High School, I began, on my own, attending band competitions in my official capacity as the mascot of Central Dauphin High School. And boy, did it work. I was loathed by far fewer people in the band than in any other group in the school. I even found a girl who liked me. And that's why I drove my grandfather's 1971 Dodge Dart all the way to the band competition at Dover Area High School. I'd only been driving for a few months, so driving across the river and down 83 was like going to the moon. And I was so excited about going to see this girl that I had forgotten one of the fundamental requirements of undertaking a lunar expedition, and that's check the gas gauge. So I set off for New York, and the gas gauge was about a quarter full. Now, I don't know if you've been to a band competition or not, but they're a lot like Burning Man for nerds. There's a lot of sweaty people walking around doing weird little skits, and the drums never stop, and it seems to go on for days and days and days and days. But by the time this was done, it was very, very late. The girl was very excited because I think they won. I don't know. I mean, who could tell those things? I mean, I put the suit on, I jumped up and down, and everybody was very excited to see me, and everyone was getting back on the bus, and she invited me to a party to celebrate at somebody's house in the basement. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, all the best stuff happened in somebody's basement. Chemistry sets, Richard Pryor albums, Playboy, weed, now girls. So I jumped in my car and I followed the bus, and that's when I looked at the gas gauge and realized I was on empty.
Oh, no.
And it was late. And every gas station I passed in that godforsaken county was closed. So I did everything I could think of to improve my gas mileage. I drove precisely 35 miles an hour. I coasted whenever possible. I slipped through stop signs. I closed all the windows to reduce wind resistance. But in a 71 Dodge Dart, that's pretty much pointless. I even turned on the heat to help the engine cool more efficiently, because nothing was going to stop me from getting to second base that night. And something like a 2-ton car running out of gas was not going to stop me, and I was going to push it there if I had to. And that's how it was, mile after mile in the dark, with the needle resting on the bottom of the gauge way below the E. But I managed to get across the river to the other side of Harrisburg. I finally found an open gas station, and the engine died about a block away. But I somehow managed to drift right up to the pump. And with all due respect to Randy, if there had been a girl waiting in that parking lot at the Kmart in Aurora, Illinois, you and your buddies wouldn't have had to push Gloria. Because I am convinced to this day that I willed my car to drive 20 miles on empty through sheer force of teenage libido. And that was real teen spirit.